with a revitalizing and refreshing taste. Stock available: 750 mils, 500 mils, 350 mils, 500 mils sachets, and 18.9 liters containers. Drink and enjoy your purified and corporately packaged water which passes all tests. Live better, drink better. Call 0776 452710 or 0760 732565 now to make your order. Aqua J for a refreshing sip.
We sincerely apologize for bringing the main news late. Nevertheless, here are the headlines. Savannah Zambia organization pledges to supplement government's effort in promoting aquaculture in Mazabuka. 2,780 first-year students at UNZA awarded scholarships. The International Hekis commemorates 60 years after Evian agreement with Algeria. And in sports, Egypt Noran Gore wins women's squash black ball open. With the details, my name is Alvin Siandabilem. Savannah Zambia organization has promised to promote aqua initiatives and to upgrade community schools in Lubombo. Speaking when the Savannah team visited Lubombo community in the company of Lubombo Councillor Eugene Natala, says Savannah Zambia International Coordinator Mariana Chabwe says the main aim of our organization is to promote sustainable lives by promoting the already existing initiatives such as aquaculture programs and upgrades of community schools. We have more in the following report. Speaking when the Savannah team visited Lubombo community in the company of Lubombo Councillor Eugene Natala, Savannah Zambia National Coordinator Mariana Chabwe says the aim of our organization is to promote sustainable lives by promoting the already existing initiatives such as aquaculture programs and upgrades of some community schools in the area. Mrs. Chabwe says the organization will supplement the community initiative project with 70% funding or 30% from the community. He added that our organization has already engaged the district board secretary to identify some community schools that need assistance in terms of upgrade.
Resource mobilization. You come together as a ward, you mold the bricks or blocks, you put the sand, those local materials. Then you show us to say, here we want Savannah Zambia to build a boarding school. Then we'll come in and work. So the level where we are, because I know you start answering the question in the honorable to say, Councillor, when are these people starting? We are doing resource mobilization. We are checking what do you really need in Lubombo or in Magobo. So we have seen we have these fish ponds, of which I've already done the mapping for the whole Zambia. And we know in Mazabuka they need 30 fish ponds or 50. In total, don't limit yourself to give us land. The whole southern province were given 500.
And Lubombo Ward Councillor Eugene Natala applauded Savannah Zambia organizations. He says the boarding school that has been proposed in his ward will bring development and reduce congestion some schools are currently facing since the pronouncement of free education. Natala, who called upon all politicians who lost in the recent past elections to join forces for a common goal of bringing development in the area.
Mandate to go on with the projects that we proposed that they can do for us. To mention few, there's a boarding school that was proposed to be brought here in the Lubombo community, or rather ward per se. The boarding school is going to help a lot of people, not only the Lubombo community, but also from other areas. Because in the district, so far, we just have one boarding, if I'm not mistaken, which is Nanga. So it can be ideal for us to have more boarding schools. You know, the issue of free education. It has brought all those that had stopped schooling. So meaning it will give an opportunity for the people around Mazabuka to bring their children here at Lubombo boarding, if at all we are going to be successful in lobbying this development.
And the section headman Simon Mutintahajulunga requests Savannah Zambia to draft a memorandum of understanding and to sensitize the community before 9 hectares of land can be allocated for the proposed projects.
Which sensitize the community so much so that no to tontalu sumpugo olo money utagabi embarrassment iguti twaguba disappointed igumbere. We need to achieve whatever we have planned. Now, my concern, our concern as community.
Alvin Siandabile reporting from Musanza TV in Mazabuka district of Southern Province. Northwestern Province Acting Commanding Officer Dr. Fred Mulenga has confirmed the accidentally with the muzzle loader which was to the deceased's father. He explained that the deceased's father, together with the deceased's mother, Helen Kaluba, 27, and their 2 children, Modesta Kumwandi and Junior Francis Kamwandi, went to visit their grandfather, Kiyombo Ngoloma. He said the family was accompanied by Daniel Makijika, who had just come back from the poaching activities. Dr. Mlenga says they were chatting in the father to the victim and the grandfather were chatting in the shelter outside the house. Children were playing around the yard whilst they were seated in the shelter when they suddenly heard the loud bang in the house of Kiyombo Ngoloma, and when they rushed in the house, and discovered that Francis Junior Kumwandi had accidentally shot himself using a homemade gun. The body of the deceased has since been deposited in Lumwana District Hospital mortuary pending post-mortem and burial, as no foul play is suspected. Docket of the sudden and unnatural death has been opened. Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management has been commended for strengthening of normative and legal framework for all full employment and decent work for all women in the country. Speaking during the ZIHRM Women's Conference program held in Osaka yesterday, ZIHRM President Moffat Nyirenda notes that the other areas that could help to achieve women's economic empowerment includes implementing economic and social policies for women's empowerment programs. Mr. Nyirenda also notes that the Creating Women Forum at workplace and strengthening the private sector role in women's economic empowerment could be one need to challenge the traditional assignment of gender roles in society, roles which traditionally have pivoted around the service and care.
Institute. Let me bring to your attention, ladies and gentlemen, some of the areas that can help to achieve women's economic empowerment in the changing world of work. In frameworks for full employment and decent work for women, implementing economic and social policies for women empowerment, implementing platforms and efforts such as the Women Forum in the workplace, which are deliberate efforts by organizations to support, to make our women, new people, to be ready for the future opportunities that are ahead. We are also imploring to say the private sector must play a deliberate effort, more than just putting in place diversity and inclusion policies, but to in place forums like this, which are in the government sector, the public sector, that we are implementing. So we are asking, what we are basically saying is that you cannot manage what you can't measure. So these forums, like Women Forum programs, are very, very important, and they will help us to prepare our ladies for the future. But also to support and encourage women to be ready, like you have made efforts to be part of this conference. It means you are making efforts to be ready for the future opportunities ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, a new world of work needs to be constructed for women. This construction begins with an acknowledgement that the current economic models have not yielded the necessary inclusivity for women. We have however acknowledged the efforts being made locally and internationally to address this. To promote women's
And speaking at the same event, NGOCC Executive Director Ngoase Mwale has challenged women in the country to become creative and be transformers of change rather than waiting to be appointed as leaders in their respective various organizations.
To put our minds together with that commonality of wanting to advance the empowerment of women. So there is a platform called All Women One Voice, and AWOV in short. And All Women One Voice is a platform that is meant to bring on board all women from different sectors so that we can discuss about us. We can discuss the journey that women must take. Because at the end of the day, we are all women first before we are different individuals in our organization. So what brings us together under the All Women One Voice platform is a realization that in as long as we are all women and we need solidarity and we need to move as one, we cannot afford to work in silence. We cannot afford to build walls around ourselves. So let's open ourselves, ladies. The past president, I'm happy again, of the Institute, Madam Nanchana. You can actually see her before the end of this conference, to be able to give you the details of how you can become a part of their work. At some point during this year, we are planning a huge women's convening. I don't want to call it a conference, because sometimes conference workshops sound. It should be a huge women's convening where every woman from every sector, from the church, from the arts, from the media, from the professional bodies, from civil society, from everywhere, from the professional angle, will meet under one roof and simply bring ourselves to the space and say, what is it that we can do for our country? How is it that we can get our collective voice out there that as women, we are now on the path to bring about sustainable development. So we can be transformers of social change. We can be able to practice our transformative leadership in the different spaces. We don't need to all be holding big positions. I know that in the political arena, I'm one person who is always sharing the numbers, the statistics.
An additional 2,780 first-year students at the University of Zambia have been awarded scholarship by the Higher Education Loan and Scholarship Board. The Higher Education Loan and Scholarship Board Senior Corporate Communications Manager Chisela Kawanda says this has resulted in over 55,000 first-year students being awarded loans in one university in one academic year for the first time. Mr. Kawanda told Phoenix News that the additional student loan have been facilitated by the Ministry of Finance and National Planning. She stated that the awarding of the additional student loan, the 40% merit, 30% rural affirmative, and 30% female affirmative criteria was used, while all applicants living with disabilities were awarded in the first selection. Last month, Finance Minister Musoko Twani Stumbeko announced that over 65 million and over 57,000 funds, United States dollars rather, funds were seized from Faith Musonda, would be channeled to over 22,200 first-year University of Zambia students who earlier did not benefit from the scholarship loans scheme for the 2021-2022 academic year. In September last year, joint investigative wings seized over 65 million and over 57,000 United States dollars from Musanza's house in New Kasama area, which was hidden in a suitcase and was fortified to the state. Western Province administration has reaffirmed its commitment over improving people's lives through, among others, sports discipline in the region. Western Province Minister Kapelwa Bangweta said his office was open and free for anyone to consult on sports and other needy issues. Mr. Bangweta said this in a speech read for him by Acting Western Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Richard Mulwanda at the Football Association of Zambia Fans Western Region Annual General Meeting AGM held at OK Restaurant Hall in Amongo. The Fars Western Province Chairperson David Simwinga said he has noted that there was a lot of fighting and beating of referees by unregistered officials and also club presidents and secretaries who sit on the technical bench.
May I assure you that the Udon government is a government that wants to see serious improvement in all sectors of our lives, including football and related activities. Our office is available anytime you wish to consult on any matters that can move you forward. As clubs, you have opportunities to form your own cooperatives so that you are able to access some of the empowerments and run your own cooperatives, make money for your clubs, and support your teams effectively.
Many are times that we have complained in the provinces that we have been left out in terms of selecting our youths to be part of national activities because we have not created a database. We have an activity that will be coming in the next couple of weeks. It's an invitation, youth invitation, where we're going to have under 15 going out for a tournament. And time is now that we begin to organize ourselves and begin to prepare those under 15 players to go to Georgia and take part in a tournament. Zambia will be the only African country that will be part of that particular engagement. So we are going to draw players from all over the province.
The Zambezi River Authority says the water in Lake Kariba has increased from 478.35 meters recorded on the 1st January 2022 before receding to 478.52 recorded on 18th March 2022. The authority's manager, Public Relations and Communications, Selusiswa Sibanda, says the increase in the lake level at the beginning of January 2022 was due to the sustained rainfall activity in the Kariba lower catchment, and 478.52 millimeters was recorded on the 14th March 2022, meant that the lake was at 3.02 meters above the minimum operation level and over 475.50 which translated into 13.66 billion cubic meters of stored usable water for power generation. On the same date last year, the lake level was higher at 481.44 meters with a 227.62 BCM of stored usable water, or 42.62% of live storage, with lake level being 5.94 millimeters above MOL. Silosiswe Basibandas said that despite the delayed onset of the rainfall activities, the lake levels would start increasing during the second quarter of 2022. The Stimulation also indicated that the lake is likely to reach a peak of 480.30 millimeters by 18 June 2022, which will put the lake at 4.8 millimeters above the MOL, with 22.06 BCM of stored usable water and 34% live storage. The authority added that it has maintained the 45 billion cubic meters of water allocated to ZESCO Limited and Zimbabwe Power Company for their productive power generative operation at Kaliba Dam for 2022. Zamseed company seeks to introduce new seed intervention on the market that are drought resistant and favorable to southern province regions. We have more in the following report. Speaking during the last day of the 3-day field held at Zamseed Shed in Mazabuka district, Zamseed plant breeder Dr. Verma says the company is yet to release varieties of hybrid seed awaiting certification and names from government, and named the other seeds as ZMX 20-228.
Excitement on two particular new varieties. One is called 20228, 20228, and then 2121. People like them, they are very enthusiastic. One of them is very early, which is very pertinent for this province because of drought, recurring drought.
Zamseed Business Development Manager and Vegetable Division Lead Nokchulo Ndrovu says the new vegetables, tomatoes among others, are favorable in southern province and advise farmers in horticulture to plant drought-resistant crops that will give them the desired yields.
Horticulture, particularly when you focus your agriculture on production of tomatoes and cabbages, these hybrids can be planted throughout the year. And when you go for storm, we have Paula also in the other plot which we're going to visit, and you plant your Karina cabbage, you plant your Rihanna cabbages, you definitely go wrong as a farmer.
During an interactive session with farmers, a concerned farmer, Fleming Bautu, requested management at Zamseed company to label their products in simpler ways to help visually impaired persons and those who cannot read to make the right choices.
3 quarters they cannot even go up to 301 utahibe utisiti njendo yanda kukola nje bahima symbols ma symbols nchali kabo tukamba alatonde yando ijitika nababika muyuni nababika hii yani simbo imutonde ya muntu kuti ejijamba so ejijamba kukamba ejijamba kumuka ejijamba
and responding to farmers' concerns, Zamseed Business Development Manager and Vegetable Division Lead Nokchulo Ndrovu says Zamseed has taken note of the concerns raised by farmers and will make sure that the concerns are put into consideration.
Simbo itiga kwa hili heba ntubonse nyiga yose mbwizurwa kambinga twajitabo favor so botolike kuno kumusanza tabuhe no bagogo so eyo twayitambula but yakukatu kati tukabandiga zi team pa marketing utenga twaba kwa hili yabo tibantu nche icho batyani incho bayanda twarumba maningi kambo chali important ma miswanga no mbuli yeyi kambo limotujula muto tincho beninga twabere yanzi ngatwabere hatu yuni na abayuni na twasanga kutuyuni tuyabo komena mutwa seunzi kujiyuni.
And Zamseed Southern Province Regional Manager Dave Munkombwe said the field day was mainly to interact with farmers and to find ways of how the company could serve them better.
Main reason why we called for this event was to showcase to the farmers the varieties which we have put, and also to emphasize the major reason to emphasize on the drought tolerance. You know where we are now, especially this year, the rains has been a problem. Yes, we received quite a lot here in Southern Province at some point, but the distribution was very bad. So the choice of the variety, it's very cardinal.
Alvin Siandabile reporting from Musanza TV in Mazabuka district of Southern Province. Tourism Minister Rodney Sikumba has applauded the people of Western Province for exhibiting unity and cooperation in preserving the Komboka ceremony for over 300 years. Mr. Stumbeko said the country has many ceremonies that takes place annually with one common goal of transmitting cultural traditions to the next generation, of which Komboka is among the unique historical events. He said this in a speech read to him by Western Province Minister Kapelwa Bangweta during the first ever Komboka fundraising dinner dance that was held in Mongo at Barotse Mall. We have more in the following report.
Preparations for the Komboka ceremony for the Litunga of Western Province, Lubosi Imwiko II, have reached an advanced stage as the date for the event is slowly approaching. The province has held HIV and COVID-19 stakeholders sensitization meetings, followed by commencements of mobile vaccinations in order to create a safe environment for people that will be coming for the ceremony. And a Komboka Fluela fundraising dinner dance has been held to raise funds for the successful hosting of the ceremony, where Tourism Minister Rodney Sikumba, who was represented by Western Province Minister Kapelwa Bangweta, graced the event.
Komboka is regarded as one of Zambia's richest and most historical traditional ceremonies that attract people across the country and the world, as the Gambela said in his remarks. The Komboka ceremony is a well said to be over 300 years old. As a result of this, he would like to applaud the people of Western Province for preserving and safeguarding this wonderful and historical culture. We have a duty to ensure that this practice and custom does not die in our hands.
And the Barotse Royal Establishment, Ngambela Mukela Manyando, outlined the significance of the event.
Komboka actually is a special ceremony that we celebrate every year when the waters on the floodplain rise and make life uncomfortable for the people living on the plain. They must evacuate to the higher ground. It is originally meant to escape from the elements on the plain to the safer areas on the upland. But today, Komboka has now taken on special status. It has become a tourist attraction.
And Induna Imunda, who is also the chairperson for Lusaka Komboka Organizing Committee, described the Western Province Komboka dinner dance as successful and further disclosed that the Lusaka Komboka dinner dance will be held on the 26th of March 2027.
This is the first time. So ni batakuli rubone moika za maela ni moluka kona kuli going forward rweze improve encha hape ni kubula yasichaba kuli la 26 March lukaba ni fundraising dinner dance ya Komboka Mwalusaka kwa Mulungushi Conference Center.
The dinner dance was attended by various lawmakers and senior government officials from across the country. Sifue Mwangala, Zanis Mongu, Western Province.
We take a break. Join us shortly with international and finally sports.
Refresh your body, mind and soul this sizzling summer. Introducing the refreshing, clear with nature's taste Aqua Gel purified mineral water, ultimately designed to quench your thirst with a revitalizing and refreshing taste. Stock available: 750 ml, 500 ml, 350 ml, 500 ml sachets and 18.9 liters containers. Drink and enjoy your purified and corporately packaged water which passes all tests. Live better, drink better. Call 0776 452710 or 0760 732565 now to make your order. Aqua J for a refreshing sip.
Welcome back, and now finally in international and sports. Some 300 Hekis and their descendants gathered in front of the Riversalt Camp Memorial in Pyrenees Orientalis region to ask the state to restore their honor beyond pardon law. The Hekis were recruited as auxiliary to the French army during the Algerian War of Independence in 1954 to 1962. At the same time, in Paris, President Emmanuel Macron commemorated the 6th anniversary of the Evian Agreement and a ceasefire in Algeria, pleading for an appeasement of memories on both sides of the Mediterranean. Nearly 300 people attended, including the several former French soldiers, R.N. Mayer and of Pepignon, Louis Alliot, and was also present. Up to 200,000 Hekis were recruited as auxiliary to the French army during the Algerian War of Independence, but in the aftermath of the Evian Agreement, the French government rejected their mass repatriation.
Some 300 Hakis and their descendants gathered in front of the Riversalt Camp Memorial in the Pyrenees-Oriental region to ask the state to restore their honor beyond the pardon law, which was compared to crimes. We ask the politicians for a law of reparation commensurate with our suffering for all. The Hakis were recruited as auxiliaries to the French army during the Algerian War of Independence in 1954 to 1962. 60 years later, we are recognized nowhere. On the other side, in Algeria, we are seen as traitors, we are called immigrants. Wherever you look, we are looked down upon, we are looked at in the wrong way. Here, we are not French, we are not recognized as truly French by the people here. We are traitors, that's it. President Macron recently asked for pardon from the Hakis. To some, this came a bit too late. I would have liked my father to be here to listen to Macron's apology. You see, it is coming way too late by now. The ghost of Algeria's war of independence from France still haunts both countries 6 decades on. France has made tentative attempts to heal the wounds and apologize for its 132 years of often brutal colonial rule.
And finally in sports, Nouran Goha beat her Egyptian counterpart Noor El Shabini, who was forced to retire in the final of the Black Ball Open in Cairo on Thursday. Goha was leading by 2 games and had taken the first 2 points of the 3rd game when she called it a day after receiving a treatment on a hip injury. Goha will now take over as world number 1 from El Shabini when the new ranking are released in April. Well, that sporting item brings us to the end of the news at 18:45 at Musanza TV. Recap of stories once again. Savannah Zambia organization pledges to supplement government's effort in promoting aquaculture in Mazabuka. 2,780 first-year students at UNZA awarded scholarship. In international hockey commemorates 60 years after Evian agreement with Algeria. The sports Egypt's Nora Nagoha wins women's squash Black Ball Open. That is all that we had for you. Join us tomorrow again at 18:45. Thank you very much. On behalf of my transmission controller, Warren Dow, and the entire news production, my name is Alvin Siandabile. Stay blessed and keep watching Musanza TV. Good evening.